What if I told you my AI iris just helped me reverse my biological age by full year? I'm testing biologically at 32.4, and that's down from 33.4 last year. So 32.4, that's the new data or new age. Um, the old one was 33.4. So 1 year I reversed my age. And there's nothing fancy. I'm not following any fancy Silicon Valley stuff, biohacking stuff. Again, this is my own personal health AI system called Iris that I built using AI, predominantly Claude, Firestone database, and tying my Garmin data, all my blood work collected for last 15 years, and you know, just using this AI to optimize my life. So I'm gonna share exactly the test results, show you the proof. I'm not lying or anything, the actual age, and you can do it too. And I want to change your mind, that AI isn't just a hype, especially for healthcare. It's going to be revolutionary. It's already revolutionary. Hello, I'm Shankar, 47-year-old engineer, who owns 4 retail business, and I'm passionate about health. I build AI systems to solve real problems for my business, for myself personally, and of course, I have my AI consulting as well. If anybody interested, ClarityLabz.com. And the most personal project I ever built is Iris. I think the first 3 videos I covered extensively. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And that's my personal health companion. It's my doctor, coach, health coach, and a counselor. All in one. And that's literally helping me live until they want to live until 99. Right? That's my goal. If you guys watch my video. So here's the deal, right? I turned 47 May 12th, a couple of days ago. That's my birthday. And I realized something, okay? So I'm coasting into my 50s, half a century. So I have two options: either accept my decline or I can engineer my way to live until 99. Okay, I'm an engineer. So I chose the option two. I want to engineer my way to live until 99. So Iris isn't my health AI isn't just tracking my data; it's analyzing patterns, making connections that doctors miss, and giving me actionable protocols and insights to take my. I'm already very, like I said, right, collecting data for the last 15 years in spreadsheets and that stuff. Now it's giving me more capabilities and insights and knowledge, right, based on the data, and guiding me to guided me to reverse his age as well by in a year. That's pretty cool. All right, so the context, right? Let me show you these numbers because they're pretty incredible. I'm proud of myself. That could be the best birthday gift I ever had. I didn't expect to be my biological age reversing 1 year back while I my actual age going 1 year forward. That's pretty insane. I mean, my biological age last year was not that bad. I'll show you, you know, and to even icing on the cake to reverse 1 year back, that's pretty remarkable. So anyway, so right now I'm sitting at 32.4. That's nearly 15 years younger than my actual chronological age of 47. And that's what's really interesting. Last year I tested at 33.4. So I'm aging slower than normal, actually reverse aging in a way, right? So now don't think that I have a genetics lottery. And if you watch my, first 3 videos, I think one of the videos I even showed you how bad my genetics are. And that's one of the reasons I built Iris is to kind of help me guide, based on my genetics data, my, the diet, the exercise routine, the blood work, all that stuff. So it's kind of helping me, guide me so I don't, so those bad genetics are not going to, kill me, earlier or make my life worse, because my goal is to live until 99. So Iris pulls raw data, immediately flags, critical condition when I started this journey, right? So I plugged in all my data, and then the latest data I did uh, was I think towards the end of last year. So it pulled, it kind of made some conclusion. Okay, give me, I kind of picked up 3 action items. I think the biggest one is the high ferritin level it flagged. Okay. Um and then the free testosterone, and then my lipid markers, based on my genetics data, suggest that my ApoE genetics weren't playing nice with my diet. So the most doctors would have said, "Oh, you're fine. No, that's within normal range." But Iris said, "Dude, we can optimize it." The difference, Iris just doesn't look at reference ranges. It analyzes my patterns over time, cross-referencing with the research, and builds personalized protocols just for me, right? So a lot of the doctors, longevity doctors, who never even remember me, right? I mean, my family doctor, go in, do a blood work. Hey, how are you? Boom, done. Then you go to another doctor, another doctor. It just, how bad the healthcare system is. Okay, so let me share my screen. Um, I hope you're seeing my function. Hold on, let me move my mouse. Oh, okay, here's my mouse. All right, so this is function. So the function health. If you haven't heard about it, it's a new player. Well, it's been there for a couple of years. I think they did a very good job. I think this is one of the first companies that kind of changed how we do blood tests and how we analyze data. And it's very cool. Actually, for one, it's a yearly membership. You get two tests per year. So if you start fresh, they do the full panel, 100 plus lab tests. They do a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, they test a lot, and then and obviously on top of it, they test a bunch of other stuff as well. So I highly recommend it. Obviously, I get a referral too, but I don't want to sell stuff here. But go do your own research. A lot of Hollywood people are on it. This company is growing crazy. Check it out. There's a lot of YouTube stuff. There's a lot of celebrities are in this. But anyways, the one of the reasons I like it is it's the for the price. It's not too much. I think it used to be for $500. Now it's like only $365. It came down almost by $150. Again, if you do the math, it's $1 a day, and it gives you a lot of insight. So, anyways, enough of the sales pitch. Again, I have no affiliation with Function, but anyways, if you don't know what it is, I highly recommend it, especially if you're 40 plus, 45, 50, 60 guys, go get it. It's don't I mean, again, our insurance system is broken. I have one of the top insurance and plan. I don't even use the damn thing. It's a joke, if you guys used it, sometimes it's so cheaper to just go uh how do I say, just go pay out of pocket. No, that's how bad it is. But anyways, so here's function. If you haven't checked it out, I'll recommend. Okay, so go to my results. Okay, this is me, Shankar. So that way, you guys know that I'm not lying. So it's pretty cool. So I just did the test right before my birthday. The results came right on the 11th. No, actually the 12th, right on my birthday. But so I'm gonna click this. So see, last year 33.4, this year 32.4. So again, I'm 47, so this is pretty cool, right? So the one of the biggest things they look for, I mean, everybody has a proprietary formula. How do you, calculate? Again, if you guys are familiar with Whoop, it's a fitness ring. I use Garmin, but I don't care about Whoop. Again, it's a subscription. Again, I hate, they collect their data and then we got to pay for them to do all that. I mean, it's morally not right for me personally. So that's why I hesitate to pay for any health subscriptions, because we are selling them the data, right? And they use it. Do we get a pay? No, but well, actually we are selling them data, and they're charging us, to take our data and then train their system or whatever. But anyways, that's a different rant. But um, so I digress. So what I was saying is, uh, the the um, the blood test, right? So they use a lot of formulas. So Whoop has its own age thing. They use, your Vivo to Max, all the proprietary, so they come up with this age. And this is, I trust this because they use blood data, right? That's your actual data from your blood. They check your kidney, liver, your heart health, LDL, HDL, triglycerides, everything. They methylation thing, they do a whole gambit of tests, and then they come up with this formula. And I think one of the biggest drivers in the formula is the HSCRP, so high sensitive inflammation marker, right? That's what they measure, hsCRP. Okay. So if they measure in your blood, ideally it should be negligible. That means you are zero inflammation, meaning very, very, very minute, that the blood even couldn't even detect on a blood test, right? But a lot of people, again, inflammation is a key indicator of a lot of stuff, right? Heart disease, Alzheimer's, you name it, arthritis, inflammation is a critical part. So these guys do that. So let me pull my inflammation score. I think it's under heart. Let me see, hsCRP. Okay, here. So I was great, right? Point 0.3, that's negligible. And then even with the stuff, I used Iris and kind of optimized a little bit, tweaked it, and it even went down. That's the kicker. It's less than point 0.2. So that means it's so low that they couldn't even, detect it. So um, again, if I go back here, so that's basically, one of the critical push for that 33.4 to 32.4 is that hsCRP marker. So again, I'm pretty pumped about it. So let's dig deeper and see how Iris helped me, you know, achieve this number, right? Okay, so if you haven't seen Iris, this is Iris. I logged in again. This is my own. It tracks all my activities from Garmin, steps. And then I created my own formula, with the wellness score. And then here's my biological age. Actually, I need to update this. And then, it gives me briefing. And then here's a chat, that, I think, I can ask all kinds of questions. And, I think, I showed this demo in my previous videos. But this is the full brain. It has its own chat function, which knows about me, and I constantly update all my blood test work to this, and then it knows full context. Okay, so going back, the three things that I took from Iris is basically the one I said, or the iron problem I had, which it recommended based on my last blood work, and then the testosterone issue optimization, and then my red meat issue. Okay, so I'm going to address this real quick. I don't want to bore you guys with a lot of details. So on a high level, my ferritin was pretty high. Okay, so let me zoom out. 285 nanograms per milliliter, technically normal, but Iris, immediately flagged it. So what happens is, when you have too much ferritin than normal, it increases oxidative stress, okay? And it actually does the opposite, I may age faster, okay? And also, I didn't add this here. Also, my genetics is prone to hold iron a lot. That's just, like I said, right? I'm not dealt with good genetics, so this is one of another issue. So I didn't know all this until I plugged in everything into my Iris Health AI, and then it kind of drawed a conclusion because no doctor would have told me this, right? Again, doctors don't have time, knowledge, or anything. So, anyways, the AI did this, and then it recommended, okay, a couple of things. First, go donate blood. Okay, that's the quickest thing. So you go donate blood. I use Vitalent locally. I think they're nationwide. Again, it helps people, and also it helps to get rid of your ferritin, right? So it's win-win for everything. It's a win-win for the society, and then you also it's good for your body. And then in my case, that's the only healthy options to just dump, or do blood donation. Okay. And then it recommended boron. Okay, boron helps regulate iron metabolism by influencing how your body processes and stores iron. Okay, so two changes the Iris said. One, boron, I started immediately, 10 milligrams a day. I take it at night, and then I donated blood. All right, the donating blood is a key. Okay, so lesson here, right? AI just doesn't give you protocol; it connects dots that no doctor is capable of doing it, to be honest with you, right? They need to sit down with your paperwork, read documents, and do some research, and it's a lot of work for them. They don't have time, and not the patients either. So Iris Health AI did it. So what is my steps moving forward, right? So unfortunately, due to my genetics, Iris is telling me, my health AI is telling me, I need to donate at least 2 times to 3 times a year. No excuses, okay? So what I'm doing, already did 2 times. So I'm putting in my calendar consistently. If I need to reach until 99, I got to do all this, right? So guess what? Every year I'm going to aim for 3. If I don't have time, I'm going to aim for 2. Okay, done. So that's my optimization for iron ferritin issue. Next, testosterone optimization. Again, my total T is great. Okay, for my age, natural. I don't take any hormones. I don't take any testosterone shots or anything. Mine's average around 600, 650. But my free T is on the lower range. Again, genetics. All right. So SHBG. So I have two conflicting genetics. So one suppresses SHBG. Another one increases SHBG levels. Okay. So they are kind of like, on the one side, I had the good side, good genes, and the other side, I have the bad genes as well. So they basically useless. So they're fighting each other. So it's basically suppressing my free T, even though my total T is higher. So if you don't know, the total T, good numbers is good. I mean, again, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, right? But you still need the free T to be available to use by your muscles and your body, readily available. So that's where mine sucks. It's not bad, but it could be better. It could be double, right? It could be in this 20 plus range. So that's what Iris now figured it out. So what I'm doing, so natural way, stinging nettle root extract, 300 milligrams twice a day. That's what I'm doing. Again, I don't know the results yet. I just started recently, so we'll find out. Obviously, sleep is important, so I'm doing that. Um, you know, so my free testosterone slightly jumped, but again, we don't know, right? So I'm gonna keep trying it. I'll update you guys in the another video. All right, the third one, another important one, thanks to my genetics, not so good genetics. The I love red meat. Okay, I'm a steak. I love steak. I used to follow carnivore diet, made famous by Sean Baker, Dr. Sean Baker. If you guys follow him, and that guy is a monster, right? I think he's from European Viking, somewhere there. So he got the genetics to squeeze in as much red meat as he can. He's a giant. I'm from Asia, South Asia, so I guess we our ancestors didn't eat that much red meat, so my genetics aren't that dialed to that. So long story short, my body makes too much LDL and then too much ApoE, because of the genotype, this genotype. So again, it's not terrible, but to be cautious, I want to live until 99. So Iris pretty much said, dude, no more red meat for you. Saturated fat is bad. You need to, instead of just eating every day or every other day, cut it to once a per week, replace with fish. And again, I can only eat so much fish. So I started taking omega-3 supplements. And again, my LDL started doing okay. My HDL is good. My inflammatory markers dropped across the board. So again, this is a lifestyle change that I need to be doing, constantly, to, to live until 99. Uh, so red meat out of the picture, right? That's okay. It's not that I'm giving up fully. I'll still eat once a week or every other week. That's okay. But mostly now I eat chicken, yogurt, Greek yogurt, fish, and pork. So basically, not anything that's red, I avoid it. Cool, because genetics. And then the iron thing, same deal. Blood donation. So that's hopefully can help me going. And then my testosterone stuff, start going natural route. So hopefully that that free T goes up. With the hack. So why iris is different from just googling, right? So that's a question you may ask. Dude, I can just google this stuff. But three things: data integration, pattern recognition, and personalization, right, at scale. I showed you the example. This is crazy. Um, First, data integration, meaning, I fed 15 years of my health, data, blood work data, plus the recent data, my Garmin that has the sleep data, exercise, everything, my food logs, supplements, entire supplement protocol, all this stuff goes into my AI that I built using Claude. And and then I integrated the Claude API on the back end as its memory, sorry, as its own doctor, and doing all the AI stuff. So it recognizes a pattern. That's why it figured out the ferritin stuff, all the other stuff, and personalization, right, at scale. It doesn't just give me generic protocols. It dig deeper into my genetics. Compare the research, and it showed me interventions that are easy to do, like blood donations. Easy. It's not rocket science. Obviously, you need to find time. Once you get the rhythm and find a place close by, it's easy. Again, adding a supplement, easy, right? It's not like I'm going, adding some actual medication to it. No, it's just a boron from Amazon, 10 milligrams, done, boom, right? And then the other natural supplement, stinging nettle root, that's cheap. Amazon added, my free tea goes up. So so basically, the system runs on Cloud API, with Firestore backend, and the magic isn't just the prompt engineering data architecture I built, but it builds predictive models, right? It just responds to answers. It has context, and it draws conclusion, and it makes it very personal. Okay, so here's my blueprint, right? Here's a big picture. It's not just optimizing few biomarkers, right? Iris, my health AI, is helping me build a longevity blueprint that's completely personalized to my genetics, to my lifestyle, and my goals. All right. So my age reversal, my biological age reversal from 33.4 to 32.4 is not the end goal, right? It's validation that the system I built is working already, right? That's remarkable, right? Within a few months or 6 months, all the work I did, and the tips I my iris gave me, it's a proof. Right? It's crazy that I went 1 year backwards, right? And it's also building protocols for things I haven't even thought about it yet, right? It tracks my cognitive pattern, flagging early warning and declines, and all the stuff metabolically, how flexible I am. And then eventually it's just the beginning, right? My goal is to live until 99, right? um Physically capable, right? Not just to survive until 99. I want to have the mental sharpness, physical capability, and then emotional resilient, to handle at that age 99, right? And here's where it gets exciting. The more data I collect, the my iris AI keeps getting smarter. And again, this is today, right? If I make another video next year on my next birthday on 48, AI would have been so advanced, and I would have fed so much data to my iris health, and I made a lot of tweaks. It's going to be crazy. I mean, I can't wait. But so verdict. So I'm not saying AI is going to replace doctors, right? But it's already revolutionizing how I approach my health. Iris AI gives me insights that would take a team of specialists, months to figure it out, tons of money. you know Again, there's no such system available today, to be honest with you, right? So you got to go to this longevity guru, you got to go to your family doctor, you got to go to another specialist. So you got to go at least consult with, I don't know, 4 or 5 doctors or special guys. And then blood work here, blood work there, scans here, scans. And then you got to draw your own conclusion, based on he said what, she said what, and then got to draw your own line. Okay. So the real value isn't just the numbers; it's the confidence that comes with the system, and how it's helping me optimizing my longevity, right? Every decision, every protocol, every adjustment I do is backed by data based on my own data and my own insights. All right. So if you're serious about longevity, and about health, play with AI, guys. I'm telling you, don't trust your doctors. Again, I love this country. This is amazing country, but unfortunately, healthcare is one place that I mean, there's a couple of things it's bad, but healthcare is it's really bad. You know, they are trying to make change, but I feel like it's too late. The monster, the weeds are so deep into the healthcare system that it's not even crazy. It's insane. But I showed you guys in the last video, how you need to learn AI. Pick one, spend that $20 a month membership, go build it, go watch the video. I encourage you to do that. Again, the goal is to use AI to make your life simple, right? That's what the guys who are creating all this AI, that's how they say, hey, AI will make your life easy, make you live longer. This is what they mean, right? It's not magically going to do stuff for you. You got to use this tool, right? Now you have your doctor, therapist, health coach all in one place. If you spend few times to build it, feed the data, you know. But anyways, go check out my other videos. And I even went over this free glucose monitor that I did. If you use, I use CGM Lingo data. I made a video about that. I didn't like the Lingo app data, so I uh, made a free app for you guys, with the my own keys, API keys, and again, I pay for it, but it's free for you guys to use. If you're not happy with your Lingo app, export the data, and then that app will show you, all the details. Go watch that video as well. But anyways, go check it out. If you like this video, thumbs up, or leave me any comments if you have any questions. Again, I'm passionate about health and I'm willing to help, anybody, leave a comment or anything. Really appreciate watching this video, and you all have a great day. We'll see you guys on another video. Thank you.